Hey, this is Craig Ballantyne, and happy birthday to me. So I just turned 47, and recently one of my coaching clients, they said to me, Craig, what is the best advice that you can give me today? There's a young guy. He's 29 years old, a client named Sam. He's absolutely crushing it. We call him seven-figure Sam because his gym is hitting $1 million this year. And he's just one of the best students I've ever had. And I had to think about this for a long time because when I tell Sam advice, he goes and acts on it. And so I thought, what do I know to be 100% true? Not like, something somebody's told me and I might believe it, and not something that I believe that is for me, but these are, or just for me, but not for everybody else. But these are 100% true. Like, for example, I didn't include on this list success, love, speed, because while I believe it to be relatively true, it's not always true. But the 7 things I'm going to share with you today are 100% true every single freaking time. All right. So let's go with number 1, which is people can change. People have the opportunity to change. And so all of those negative Nancy's out there who say, oh, a leopard can't change its spot, they're just repeating a cliche, but it's not true whatsoever, because here's all the things that I've done. So I used to be a broke, struggling, introverted, socially anxious, binge drinking personal trainer who was really bad at speaking in front of groups and in doing these types of podcasts. Now, when I do these podcasts and when I do my videos and I do all of the things and I stand up on stage, I rarely say or ah because I changed my ability over time. And so you might think, well, you know what? Most people believe, or I believe, that people can lose weight or people can get stronger. Okay, so great. So what you're admitting is people can change. Because those same negative Nancy's is they'll go, oh, people can't change. The leopard can't change its spots. And then they'll also say, like, when one of their friends no longer wants to hang out with them, oh, people change. People change. So what is it? People can't change or people do change? And the answer is people can change. So I was all those things and I didn't want to be those things. And I realized that everything is a learnable skill. I am less introverted. So becoming extroverted is a learnable skill, or, like higher energy and more positive and schmoozer and that type of thing. Like, you can turn it off, you can turn it on if you build it up to a skill set where you go from amateur to professional. Speaking, losing weight, dating, all these things. I've seen people transform in every area. Nerdy guys who couldn't get a date to guys who can get, to being a guy who can get 5 dates in one night. It's just a learnable skill. So everybody can change. It's just up to you whether or not you choose to commit, because it's not easy. One of my most popular quotes is, success is simple once you accept how hard it is. I could put that in here, I guess, too, but success is simple once you accept how hard it is. If you want to climb Mount Everest, you don't have to invent a new complex route to get up to the top. You just have to work really hard and follow the same route that everybody else did. You have to do all this hard work that only 500 or 5, I think it's 500 or it's 5,000. I think it's 5,000 people have summited Mount Everest, and a lot of people have died up there. Now, it's not easy. It's brutally hard, but it's simple. It's simple. You go the same way that everybody else went. The end. Okay. So people can change. Number 2 is wake and work. All right. So when I grew up in high school, people go, oh yeah, man, wake and bake. Back when, they thought smoking weed was cool, which is not. And I don't wake and bake, I wake and work. And I learned this from my father, the guy that I talk about in my Facebook ads and that sort of stuff, that taught me that no matter what yesterday was, and no matter how hungover you are, you get up and you go to work. Because my dad was a farmer and he drank too much beer and he was always hungover, but he always got up and went to work on the most important thing, which was feeding the cows. So it fed our family. And then as I started writing my books, as I started studying it, even in university, as I started trying to transition from personal trainer to online business person, it was wake up and do it first thing in the morning. That's when you have the greatest discipline, willpower, and intention than any other time of day. Research proven. And so if you say, well, I'll do it at like 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, all of a sudden you get all those emails. You get frustrated by something. You get stressed out by traffic. Your willpower and discipline decrease, and your apprehension around the task increases. And the next thing you know, procrastinate and push it off. And so if you haven't gotten something done, it's because you're not doing it first thing in the morning. And I know this to be true because we have sold over 100,000 copies of my programs, products, and services that help people do the first thing in the morning, the most important thing. They follow the Mark Twain quote, right? So if your job is to eat a frog, best thing to do is eat it first thing in the morning. If your job is to eat 2 frogs, best thing to do is eat the biggest frog first. And we get thousands of customer testimonials from people saying, I've been wanting to do X project for the last 6 months, and I wasn't able to do it because I had a long morning routine or whatever. I started your program, and within 3 days, I was done the project that I hadn't gotten done in 6 months. Like, we hear that on Program Repeat because wake and work works. All right. Number 3, the more people you know, the easier life will be. So again, I started out as a broke, struggling introverted, socially anxious, binge drinking personal trainer who, I hated going to events. I still forced myself to go to events, but I also networked online and I grew my connection. I had an email newsletter and I used to interview people for my email newsletter, which is like an old version of what is today podcasting, except it was just in text format. And then I actually had a podcast in my fitness business back in like 2007, 2008. I'd have people on that. And then I went to events and then I started hosting events and I grew my network, even though I had a lot of introverted tendencies. And the more people that I knew, everything became easier. The more people that I knew, the more they wanted to promote my products. So I was making money with friends. And I did that for, heavily for about 10 years, from 2006 to 2015. Affiliates were the main source of my income. So all the people I knew would send emails to their list about my fitness programs, and I would get their customers and I would make money. And then I would send my customers to their products and services that I believed in, and I would make money through commissions. I made money with friends for 10 years. It was so awesome. And I started masterminds with Bedros Keuilian, who was my friend, who I started my friendship with him by sending him a book in the mail, and he sent me one back. And the next thing you know, I joined his mastermind. Then we decided to start our own mastermind, and I made money with that man, a very good friend of mine, for a long time. I get a lot of my best coaching clients from the Empire podcast that I do with Bedros. I know him leads to knowing more people. I even found the love of my life, Michelle, through knowing people, because when I was stuck and I was, had my introverted tendencies which stopped me from meeting people, I just said to women that I knew, some were coaching clients, some were friends, some were both. And I said, introduce me, please. I asked them politely, please introduce me to somebody who's awesome. And that's what they did. And that's how I met Michelle. If I didn't know those people, I wouldn't know her. And it was the more people that I know, the better off that I am. And so whether you want to get a better mortgage, whether you want to sell your car, whether you want to buy a car, whether you want to learn how to garden, I don't care what it is. There's somebody in your network who will help you get better at the things you want to do faster. And if you had a bigger network, there'd be more people, better people who would be able to help you even faster. That's all it is. I mean, I have this friend, Joe Polish. He's absolutely amazing, amazing guy. He knows so many people, and his life is relatively easy because he knows so many people. He knows Tony Robbins and he knows this, that, and the other people. And the more people you know, the more you can connect people, and you might make money from the deal, or you might get introduced to more people, and so on and so forth. So just know more people. Even if you're introverted, I prove that you can go and grow a big network. Number 4, you stay young as you grow old. You can stay young as you grow old. You can choose to be old as you grow old, or you can choose to stay young as you grow old. Young in your mind, in your habits, in your energy. I'm 47. Like, do I look like a 47-year-old man? No. I have one gray hair. It's right up here. I have gray in my beard. People always say to Michelle, like, how old is he? Like 35, right? And they think she's 30. It's, it's good nutrition, it's exercise, it's sleep, it's, vitality, believing in the future, being optimistic, knowing more people, having fun, doing what I love every single day. I could work 12 hours a day doing what I love. I have so much energy for it. And so you can choose to stay young as you grow old, or you can grow old. But, I train really hard, and a lot of it is like mobility work and boring stuff, so that I'm going to be able to keep up with my kids, and I can pick them up and not be sore and, not have shoulder problems. And I spent a lot of time working on my shoulder because it's kind of messed up, but I'm choosing to keep that shoulder young through hard work. Number 5, when you are anxious, action beats anxiety. Okay. Work beats worry. If you're sitting there and you got a problem and you're just sitting there and worrying and you're sitting and stewing, it's not going to do anything. Stop sitting and stewing. Start going and doing. Action beats anxiety. Work beats worry. I say motion beats meditation, but people get all freaked out. Listen, I meditate every single day. It's very helpful, but meditation doesn't pay the bills. Motion beats meditation. Work beats worry. Action beats anxiety. And so when you have something that's bothering you, you can sit there and go, man, this sucks. Or you can go out and take the tiny first step that gives you a dopamine hit, which gives you momentum and motivation to keep on going. And, like the old phrase says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Action beats anxiety. Anxiety is the 800-pound elephant, and action is the one bite at a time. So work beats worry. Number 6, I know this to be true. It will all be over soon. It will all be over soon. This is one of my rules for life, understanding that we'll all be over soon. The good times and the bad. So the good times will be over way too soon. Way too soon. Your daughter's birthday party, your kids' teenage years, and their preteen years, and their games, and everything's going to be over too soon. And your life is going to be over too soon. And then there's some things that are not going to be over too soon. They're going to take forever, the hardest times, the toughest times, but they will be over. If you're going through a divorce, eventually you will date again. If you're going through a dark time in your life, if like I once was, when I had my anxiety attacks, when I went to the emergency room twice, that was always in the back of my mind. I will find a way out of this. I turned over every rock. I knew that it would all be over. Recently, Michelle and I just had a 10-day bout of food poisoning, right? We live in Mexico. It finally caught up to us. We must have had some ice cubes. We went to a fancy restaurant. It took 40 people there. All 40 people got sick. And it must have been because of the ice cubes of the water or something. And so I'm going through this and I'm like, man, it was like being hungover when I was 20 years old. Like it was brutal. But I was thinking, eventually it'll be tomorrow and it'll be better. And eventually it'll be the day after. And eventually it became today and we're fine. But whatever you're going through, understand, or whatever you're enjoying, understand that it will all be over soon. So you must be more present in the good moments, right? Put your phone away. Stop texting people while you're at your daughter's birthday party. And when you're going through the tough times, persevere because it will be over soon. You're running a marathon, it will be over soon. You're going through a divorce, it will be over soon. You're trying to grow a business and get it started, it will be over soon. For better or for worse, it will be over soon. So just be present in the moment because that's going to help you remember it better and it's going to help you get through it better. It will all be over soon. And the 7th thing that I know to be true, 100% true. All of these things are 100% true, is that you are capable of more. Okay. There's 2 versions of us. You can read along with me here. There are 2 versions of us. And I really modeled this after something that Ed Milet says. He has this great, vision that when he goes to heaven, he's going to meet the Ed Milet that he could have been. And if, the Ed Milet that he could have been is 100 of 100, Ed wants to be 100 out of 100. He wants to be 99.9 out of 100. He wants to be close. He doesn't want to be a 54 out of 100. And so there's 2 versions of you and there's 2 versions of me. There's the version that we are today and there's a version that we can be. And we know, at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I did pretty good today, but you didn't do as well as you could have. You are capable of more. You could have done more. Could have done more. I could have done more in this podcast. Could have done more in my workout today. I could have done more, but so tomorrow I'm going to come back and I'm going to do more, right? You are capable of so much more. Person A is the person we are today. Person B is the potential we have to become. The question is, how close will you get to being person B? How hard will you work? How much will you commit? What will you do? Who will you meet? Who will you ask for help to get to become person B? I know that to be 100% true, that there's 2 versions of you, the person you are today and the person that you can become. So over to you. Well, over to us. Let's find out. Let's do the work and let's see how close we can get. 47, man. I'm just getting started. Never peak. The best is yet to come, as my friend Bedros Keuilian says. All right. So happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to you, whenever it is. And just understand, you ain't getting older. You're getting better. Peace. Oh, yeah. P.S. Go get my books at craigballantyne.com/free books.